Lovely.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were, yeah. And then you're in Israel. You're in Israel now,
Yeah.
and that's kind of the changing point then, where you're like discovering.
Yeah.
What say what you were saying about for you? For you, dance has been.
Yeah, dance. Well, it's not that I want to make my life sound like a novel, or it is at the same time very common. But let's say, yeah, there is a clear crystallization and a clear phenomena since the beginning in my life somehow. Fa- it- But I guess it's the same for everybody's life. It's like it's like this puzzle, and the elements come together, and they enlight each other. They give the meaningfulness to each other. Like I see from the beginning that dance has been essential to my life. I didn't know why at first, but because it was my safety boat for many times. It has saved me. It has into the journey of life. It has been my, how do you say in English, ma bouée, my the things that were, or my light, or what could still yeah, or let me help me transform all what I was churning inside of me. So so yeah, life has been from the beginning essential, and saving to me. And at the same time, it's also what took me into the great sacrifice and great extremes, and great uh, deviations in myself, in my body, in my way of relating to others, and all that. But, oh yeah, it's a very fundamental relation. Yeah.
And how did?
And yeah, and maybe what I want to say
Yeah.
also, dance is a word you put on something which is which more has to do with. It was a way to come towards myself, to understand what's going on with me, and in that way also it's savor is not the word I want to use, but I don't find any better word in English.
Salvation, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's not the word I want to use, but it has been the vector that helped me to. In fact, from the beginning, also, I think, without knowing what I was interested by, it's an embodiment. It's really like coming into my body, knowing, understanding. And very young, I was also being supervised or followed or guided through physiotherapy or any kind of somatic approach. Started when I was 8 with Mézières, because I have like let's say a kind of disbalance between right and left side. So from the beginning, I have been like followed by therapist to see like how to make better of my body. So very young, I had this also with my way of talking, because I was talking like this, so I had orthophony to learn to talk properly. So very young, I've been followed and conscient, like brought into consciousness of the way I stand, the way I talk, the way I walk, the way I move, the way I sleep, the way, it was like this watching on, permanent awareness, very young. And actually, I was very interested by that very young, by the knowledge of the body and the use of the body and the mechanics of the body, very young. And I was fascinated by that, also by the people that were teaching me or guiding me. I always had the impression they had such a wisdom. So, I think very soon, before I actually knew, this was my deeper interest into dance. Not so much the spectacle, like the showing or the performing, but knowing of the body. Like yes, unfolding and diving into the body matter. Yeah,
So you had that from the beginning, eh?
yeah.
So, so the motional that you developed, then what exactly?
And it was grow and growing, grow and growing.
Growing, growing.
It was hate and love, you know.
Yeah. growing, growing. Very good. Hate and love. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Like what informs motional then?
So
All of it.
yeah, well, yes,
Specifically, I
all
suppose.
of it. But let's say emotional is a blend of what is a more emerging. You know, like if you have in a lifetime the more subconscious and like or emerging, and then what is more manifesting and more like realizing. So let's say emotional as its roots into maybe who I am from the beginning and my relation to dance from the beginning, but it took shape into a blend of what is, let's say, more facts and effective realization as a career, in my career as a dancer. So it's like Batsheva or Hanarin, this language which now has this like Gaga name, which is all over the world, like which is a big a big hype. Sorry, a big hit, a big hype. All the dancers today want to dance Gaga and want to know Gaga or be a Gaga teacher, or not even dancers. Like everyone is like wanting to have access to Gaga today. It's a big thing. But at that time, when I was into the Batsheva company, it was not yet known as Gaga, and Ohanarin was really in his emergence into his international recognition as a choreographer, and Batsheva company as a company. So it was really the beginning, and for me, this language was really like, I could express everything I wanted to express in it, like my anger, my fire, my fluidity, my humoristic aspects, derisions. So it felt really free, but I had that, and at the same time I had this all what I went through, still to process in this moment. So it was quite exploding, blowing out period in my life. But so Ohanarin, the language of Ohanarin is one of the, let's say, fundament, because also it really went into my blood, and it took me years to kind of, grow out of this influence. So that's one fundamental. Also, what blends with that is all my practice. I started opening my interest to Tao philosophy when I was in my 20s by practicing Qigong, and also when I was in Israel, I started to study Gematria, like the Jewish energetics of numbers. And when I went back to Paris, I met this woman who was bringing together Gematria and Tao. And that was really like also opening up a lot of me in my broader vision or understanding of life. So I studied that with her, and so let's say the mother of my philosophies is Tao. And so, through studying Tao and practicing, it's also part of my blood, part of my language. So it blends with the language of Ohanarin, which I don't want to call Gaga, because for me.
He doesn't. You can.
Chandra, allez, come.
Allez, come.
Come here. Ja.
Come on, Chandra.
Stop met blaffen. Allez, kom hier. Blijf hier bij me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
And and then later when I gave birth to my second son, so to Basil, well, I had practiced yoga a lot as a dancer, but I've never been attracted to yoga. I was more like, and when I say practice yoga, it's mainly the hatha yoga, like the physical aspect of yoga. But I was never attracted to that because, yeah, I don't know, it was not appealing to me. It was. But then when I gave birth to Basile, I met this teacher, and so I was 35 then, and she approached yoga in a way that opened up sensations and subtleties in my body which I never touched before, and that really interested me. And also, it gave me a complementarity to what I was experimenting or exploring my life at the moment. But this is already later because, in fact, before that, also in the roots of emotional, when I gave birth to my first son, and actually I was already into that before, body mind centering came more structurally in my life. I was also in my 20s encountering body mind centering, but in 2008 I decided to, when I was actually pregnant as you at that moment, I started to engage into the education to certification to become a body mind centering practitioner. Anyway, so that's also like all the cellular consciousness, listening, breathing is also one of the fundamentals for emotional. And in the therapist I had that followed me through quite some years in my life, there is this fascia therapist, Marie-Thérèse Foy, who also left a lot of deep rooted traces in me, which is a support in this language.
Mm-hmm.
And the last element, very last element, is like which actually like the chemical ingredient that put everything like become emotional is Arco Rens is a choreographer from Germany but based in Belgium. For now, maybe I don't know where he's based now, but at that time he was based in Belgium. And I didn't work with him as a dancer for his projects, but we started to work together to develop a common project together, which didn't happen. But in this period of time, I really, really got fascinated by him, by his language, and this influenced me a lot as well. So it's, if you see emotional today and you see the work of Arco Rens, you would not find the similitude. But to me, like the way he approached movement has really unlocked something in me, or open imagination, like imaginary or expression of movement language. Yeah.
And this knowledge of the myofascial muscles, does that come from body mind centering?
So myofascia breathing, like this knowledge, partly comes from. Emotional is the choreographic language, and myofascia breathing is more like, let's say, a somatic, therapeutic approach to the body. And this came up to me via working with this fascia, being addressed into my body by this fascia therapist, Marie-Thérèse Foy, by meeting also Robert Bral, who is also, this is like, well, in my 20s, when I'm talking about now, with body-mind centering practitioner, but before this was a certification and a label and all that. Really, I'm talking before things started to get formalized. And so these people just like put little seeds, and these little seeds in my earth became some particular trees, which maybe in other bodies became other trees.
And what makes it so unique? What makes it unique?
Myofascia breathing?
Emotional, excuse me.
Emotional. Well, because it's my language, and I think no one else is speaking it. not that I know. Because also I don't share it so much, or not enough to make it like a brand or anything that can be more global or more like spread more. So it's just my language at this moment.
Would you like to spread it more?
Well, yeah, I feel I need, that's what I'm organizing now in January. Yes, I wanted to spread it more because I think it's a great tool. And I did attempts already when I was in Belgium. I did different applications. And I did get some support, but not enough to, yeah, to make it really happen. And then I left Belgium. So, and here I tried, but here there is not enough professional context. I did teach in Lisbon several times, but there also, like, it didn't happen. It's just like I put some drops, but the drops kind of faded out. It didn't create a synergy or a dynamic which grew. It's like kind of died out each time. So. And for different reasons, because and more on the structural level, because on the level of the sharing and reception from the dancers I worked with, there was always extreme great enthusiasm. So it's really more on the structural level, which it didn't work out. I didn't get the support and the structure I needed to bring emotional more forward. And since I'm here, but the professional scene here is just too well, not yet completely.
Here is Portugal. What brought you here?
Here, yeah, is Portugal, and more specifically here in Alentejo and in this part of Alentejo. What brought me here? A desire for change, a desire for just the nature. I just fell in love here.
You were in the city.
Land. Yeah, well, but I also really fell in love with it felt like home. Yeah, really. Like this earth and these colors and these smells and these trees and this space and climate.
Did you intend to open a hermitage? Was that the intention?
At first, we just, like this house was just a holiday house at first. And when we came to live here, we didn't really have a plan. When I say we, it's Luc, my husband, and I. And certainly Luc is not looking for any new ambition in his life or any new plans. He's very happy with, settling into himself and his life. And for me at first, I had like, oh yes, like very dynamic urban kind of tempo. Like, oh yeah, let's do this and let's do that and wow and this and that. And Luc being very clear that he's not willing or wanting to carry any more projects, and me alone not having the real power to hold it all. So it became very, very simple, and it's actually ideal because this is really fitting who we are and what we are interested in, and this artistic hermitage is